It was a quiet evening in Lagos where the hum of traffic was finally beginning to settle, and the moon hung like a silver crown over the city. But in the sprawling mansion of the Adeyemi family, a young man named Jeed stared out of his window, longing for a life he could not live. Jeed, the only son of the famous politician Chief Adeyemi, was known for his family's immense wealth and influence. But what most people didn't know was that Jeed longed to live a normal life, a life where he wasn't judged by his father's fortune or the weight of his family's name. In the dim light of his room, Jeed put on a simple baseball cap and plain clothes, his disguise to blend into the world of ordinary people. Every morning, he would leave his luxurious home to attend his university, not as the son of a famous politician, but simply as Jay, a quiet, thoughtful young man. On the first day of the semester, Jeed entered the university campus like any other student, blending into the crowd. But as he walked through the bustling hallways, his eyes fell on someone who stood out, Aisha. She was strong-willed, intelligent, and confident. She was known for standing up for what she believed in, especially against the privileged few. Aisha's voice often echoed through the campus, calling out the injustices she saw around her. "The rich think they can buy everything," she once said during a heated debate. "But respect and integrity are earned, not bought." Jeed found himself drawn to her. There was something magnetic about Aisha's spirit, her fire. Yet he knew she despised people like him, the wealthy and privileged. How could he ever get close to her without revealing the truth? Over time, Jeed and Aisha began crossing paths more frequently. It started with small interactions, working on a class project together, bumping into each other in the library. Slowly, Jeed found the courage to speak more, and Aisha began to see a different side of him. She saw someone who was thoughtful, kind, and deeply curious about the world. They became friends, and Jeed cherished every moment he spent with her. Aisha, in turn, appreciated how different Jay was from the other guys she had known. He didn't flaunt wealth or status. He was humble, and that intrigued her. But Jeed's secret weighed heavily on his heart. Every time they talked about their backgrounds, he would deflect questions about his family. He feared the day Aisha would find out the truth, that he wasn't just an ordinary student, but the son of a man she would likely despise. Aisha came from a modest background. Her father was a teacher, and her mother ran a small shop in their neighborhood. They had always taught her to work hard and stand for what was right. To Aisha, the rich lived in a bubble, unaware of the struggles ordinary people faced. But as her friendship with Jeed grew, Aisha began to question some of her assumptions. Jay, as she knew him, wasn't arrogant or entitled like the wealthy people she had encountered before. He was different. One evening, as they sat by the campus lake, Aisha opened up about her frustrations. "Sometimes it feels like the world isn't made for people like me. We work twice as hard for half the opportunities." Jeed listened in silence, torn between wanting to comfort her and the fear of losing her if she ever discovered his real identity. As their bond grew stronger, an important event loomed on the horizon. A school fundraiser aimed at helping underprivileged children. Aisha, of course, was at the forefront of organizing it. Jeed admired her passion, but was nervous because his father was one of the event's sponsors. Aisha spoke passionately about how the money raised would provide scholarships and resources for those who couldn't afford quality education. She never hesitated to point out the disparity between the rich and the poor, and Jeed knew that the moment was coming when his secret would be revealed. The day of the fundraiser arrived. The school auditorium was buzzing with excitement as students, teachers, and sponsors filled the space. Jide, dressed as Jay, stayed at Aisha's side, helping where he could, careful to avoid drawing attention to himself. But as the event progressed, Jide's heart sank as he saw his father take the stage. Chief Adeyemi, in his sharp suit and commanding presence, gave a grand speech about giving back to the community. As he spoke, Jide noticed the look on Aisha's face, anger and disdain. "I can't believe they let people like him speak at an event like this," she muttered under her breath. "They throw money at problems they don't understand." Jide felt a lump in his throat. This was it, the moment he had dreaded.
Later that evening, as they walked home from the event, Jide couldn't take it anymore. He had to tell her the truth. Stopping at a quiet corner of the street, he turned to Aisha, his voice trembling. "Aisha, there's something I need to tell you," he began. "I haven't been completely honest with you." Aisha looked at him, confused. "What are you talking about?" Jide took a deep breath. "My name isn't Jay, it's Jide Adeyemi. My father is Chief Adeyemi, the man you saw at the event tonight." For a moment there was complete silence. Aisha stared at him in disbelief, her eyes wide with shock. You've been lying to me this whole time?" she asked, her voice shaking. "I didn't mean to lie," Jide said quickly. "I just wanted to be someone else, someone who wasn't defined by my father's name or money. I wanted you to see me for who I really am, not as the son of a politician." Aisha's face hardened. "You think hiding the truth makes you different? You think lying is the way to earn trust?" "I'm sorry, Aisha," Jide pleaded. "I was afraid. I didn't want to lose you." Aisha walked away from Jide that night, her heart heavy with disappointment. She felt betrayed. How could she trust someone who had kept such a big part of his life hidden from her? For days, Aisha avoided Jide. She buried herself in her studies and spent more time with her other friends. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't get him out of her mind. She missed their conversations, their laughter. She missed him. And slowly, Aisha began to question herself. Was she being too harsh? Was she punishing Jide for something that wasn't entirely his fault? One evening, Aisha decided to confront her feelings. She sought out Jide, finding him sitting alone at the campus library, his face buried in a book. "I've been thinking," Aisha said softly, as she sat down across from him. Jide looked up, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and fear. "I don't know if I can ever fully trust you again," she admitted, "but I also know that you're not like the others. You're not just a name or a title. You're Jide. And that's who I've grown to care about." Jide's heart swelled with relief. "I'll spend the rest of my life proving to you that you can trust me," he promised. From that day on, their relationship began to heal. It wasn't easy. Aisha still struggled with her distrust of the wealthy, and Jide had to learn how to navigate a life where he could be both true to himself and honest with those he cared about. But as time passed, they grew stronger. Jide continued to live his life as he had before, modestly, humbly, and with Aisha by his side. And Aisha, in turn, opened her heart to the possibility that not all rich people were the same. Months passed, and their bond deepened. Jide no longer felt the need to hide behind a mask. He knew that Aisha loved him for who he truly was, and that was all that mattered. On a quiet evening under the stars, Jide looked at Aisha, the girl who had challenged him, changed him, and made him see the world in a new light. "I love you," he whispered, his voice steady and sure. Aisha smiled, her eyes shining with emotion. "I love you too, Jide." And in that moment under the vast night sky, the masked prince and the strong-willed girl began a new chapter in their story, one of honesty, trust, and love unmasked. The end.